Cowboy Jim, northern Alberta, and formerly a part of Canada. And I I work in the oil sands up here and run heavy equipment and whatnot. I I don't blend in that well. And today I had the thrill of a lifetime when I walked into Canadian Tire outdoor sports store. Of course, the gunsmith behind the counter, he's my brother. And I, I've never met him when he is having an off day, and it's always just a pleasure to say hello to him. But today, uh, I was headed back towards the washroom first, and uh, I stopped short, and I looked at the other end of the aisle that I was standing in, and there were two cowboys there. And I studied them, and they weren't pretend. They weren't Calgary Stampede Cowboys. Those dudes were real. And I thought, I haven't seen two cowboy hats uh, in Fort Mac. Different down south where I ranched there for quite a while, and where I hope I'll move back, not quite that far south, but um, try to buy the last little chunk of land before ground land starts in the foothills of the mountains. I just stared at them. Uh, they stared at me too, and so I walked down and I introduced myself. I said, I haven't seen uh, two other people in Fort Mac wearing a cowboy hat since I come here, and I said thank you, and um, I ended up telling them that I was from Black Diamond, Turner Valley. It's called whatever it's called. Who cares? And Diamond Valley. And they said, "Well, you're kind of down more our way." I said, "Where's that?" And they said, "Montana." I said, "Man, I hunted what we call speed goats down there, antelope, and I went into a restaurant down there, and they had sweet potatoes and ham, and they were so blessed good. And we have sweet potatoes at Christmas, but boy, let me tell you, we just bonded. Uh, uh, I was so thrilled, and I mean, they said they couldn't believe what had happened to Canada. I said it's terrible. The socialism and liberal dictatorship that's getting ready to raise its hoary head in Ottawa, and gun restrictions. I said, we can't even buy a handgun in Canada anymore. And the shorter of the two guys, he wasn't too short, not as short as I am, tough looking dude, too. He looked in the gun case. He said, "There are no handguns." I said, "We're not allowed to buy nor sell handguns. Our stupid federal corrupt evil liberal." I hope you don't think I'm being too hard on them. Government who don't know what they're doing at all, except they know they have to take the guns away from the cowboys in the West because we're not going to be led to the slaughter as sheep. Well, we're not. So, anyways, I had so much fun with those two dudes. and one pretty big fella, and one a little bigger than me, but not that big, and I shook both their hands as only I can do because my hands are so broken. I just grab thumbs and crush what I can, and the little guy, uh, I, I shook his hand, and he didn't move, and I thought, this man's strong, and he said, I'm a farrier. I said, I don't know that at all, son. Oh my goodness. Farriers work for a living. And, they make a good living, but they work for it. And he was some tough dude. But anyways, uh, I told them about my son's miracle, Big Scott Martin, and all that stuff. And I didn't tell him half what I should have. I've been praying for Donald Trump ever since he came down the elevator, and praying that the United States of America will turn their hearts and bend their knee to the God of the Bible. But the Democrats, and Biden and Obama and Clinton, they have made such inroads into the destruction of America, even as Trudeau and Carney up here, and the Canadian people. They act like children that have been sexually used and abused forever and a day, and the finally Stockholm syndrome, I think, is what it's called. And Canadian people have finally come to the place where they actually believe that what we have for government is what we deserve. No one deserves a liberal government. No one. And the big dude said, uh, Alberta should come join us. And I thought, here's the deal: if the Democrats get back in down in the states, and they will, because they don't need honest elections or anything else, the Democrats will get in, and I think that'll be the greatest sadness um, that could possibly happen. But it could happen. Anyways, what a joy to see two dudes uh, working Cowboys who look just as bad as I do. Oh, the hair wasn't quite as long as mine, so they probably don't mind paying for haircuts. I refuse. I'm not doing that ever again. I watched Braveheart, and I haven't cut my hair since. I think that was '96. I even went over to Ireland to visit my ancestors, and I thought I might take a look at getting a kilt. And I thought, well, you sure wouldn't be wearing it around in the winter out here in Alberta, -50 and whatnot. But it was 700 pounds, and that was for a used blessed kilt. I mean, that's a little too up close and personal for me, and way too expensive too. But I I so appreciated two guys who were real cowboys, and I saw one other cowboy up here 6 weeks ago or so, and I should have gone. I should have stopped my truck and said hello to him, but I didn't. But I should have. So this is my 11th video that I've done on my days off. So let's make it count. We have the privilege given by God, the Creator, to live our lives as men and strong women of the North. And that is a privilege that has not been stripped away from us by our corrupt liberal government. We still have some levels of freedom. And if the West separates from the rest of Canada, we will have more freedoms. And perhaps a day will come when we can once again buy a handgun. And I so appreciated uh, crossing over into Montana and Wyoming and the border guard. I said, I come south and I just thrill at knowing most people are packing handguns. And I said, it's comforting. Uh, Up here in Canada, the only people that pack handguns are criminals. Okay. That's even some of the law enforcement. He said, listen, border guard, U.S. border guard. He said, you come south next time. He said, you bring your handgun. He said, I'll give you a carry permit for Montana and Wyoming, and you just carry your handgun like you're supposed to. Where you living in a free country. That's the truth. Our liberal government has tried to sell us the stuff that I used to stand in the corral where there happened to be some bulls, and the liberal government says uh, you can't own a handgun, you can't carry it, you can't. I never heard of electing government representatives, politicians, to tell me what I can and cannot do. That's not their bloody job. Sorry, no, but I won't wreck my day and my joy and the pleasure I had in meeting two other real cowboys. I was a piss poor cowboy. Uh, I'm just telling you. Uh, Plow horse, it could buck me off anytime it chose. Didn't matter. But that's okay. I always got back on as long. No, most always I got back on unless I was headed straight for the hospital. Okay, God bless. One thing that I mentioned to the Cowboys was that I admired so much as a kid, looking at their American dollar bill, and it said, "In God we trust." In North America, if we don't start living out that statement, "In God we trust," we're screwed, because you cannot put any trust in a politician unless it's Donald J. Trump. Okay, you just can't. I just hope he keeps living for long enough to fill out his um, term. I I truly do. When that boy's gone, concerns me greatly that all hell's going to break loose. I'm greatly concerned about that. Okay. Well, I'm not doing a video without telling you how to be at peace with God, so we better get her done. If you have never chosen to believe in the God of the Bible and your life is coming up short for peace, joy, confidence in not yourself, but in a power higher and greater than yourself, then you need to say this simple prayer: God, forgive me. I recognize that Jesus the Christ is your Son, that He, Jesus, took my place on the cross for my sins. that he was crucified, tortured by political, religious people of the day, mostly politicians. But that was God's purpose. God sent his son to earth to be a propitiation, to be a proper sacrifice for our sin. He, Jesus, was. So, God, forgive me. I accept that Jesus Christ is your son. I'm so sorry for having lived the way I have. Help me to be what you want me to be. And I declare this beyond that prayer, God, let me run into some more cowboys who are real men, know how to ride a horse and hunt off it. I'll have to get back into the mountains again. This this living in town sucks. Okay, my friends from Montana, welcome to Canada. Sorry you're disappointed in what you see, but the people of Canada voted in those liberals in Ottawa, and they just want to destroy the country. And it's unfortunate, but I've been the knee in my heart, my soul, and my spirit, and uh, I'm telling you, uh, I love the Lord. God bless you all. You all take care. Thank you.